actually worked out perfectly.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to another exciting Gridiron Power Hour After Hours. This is part 3 continuation of accepting responsibility for your actions of a 5-part consequences and repercussions series. Now, folks, I'm going to get right to the point. And this is for all you coaches out there, you assistant coaches. Listen up. If you're an assistant coach working for a Division I college, Division
And
II,
head coach.
or Division III, remember what you say online can and will affect you in the long run. And my
Shall
case
we
in
give
point
them the
just
snapshot
happened.
of what she's talking about, Chuck? I think we shall. Please elaborate if you don't mind.
Of course, yesterday, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, they let go assistant football coach Chris Malone for remarks he made about former Georgia gubernatorial Democrat Stacey Abrams. Perfectly about a white by calling her Fat Albert.
Oh, Jesus.
And no sooner did he delete it, but it wasn't before the Chattanooga Holler newspaper, their online newspaper, got a hold of it and posted it on their online newspaper website, on their website. And somehow, head coach Michael Wright of the University of Tennessee Chattanooga Moccasins, the Mocs, as I like to be called.
The Moccasins, they took the other part off. They're just the Mocs.
Yeah, the Mocs. He got wind of it. He saw the article, as did the president. Not only was he let go off the coaching staff, his bio page has been erased off the UT Chattanooga website as well.
Not surprised. They're not. I'll put it this way: in this day and age now, because remember, back in the '90s, it was okay to get away with this.
Now, not so much.
They're saying enough.
You're going to be responsible for what you say and what you do.
Do I need to remind you about the despicable, deplorable acts we saw Wednesday? With the world watching, folks.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because normally, folks, believe it or not, we don't normally talk about politics. But what we saw on Wednesday,
but today
we're talking about this. The actions the actions of everybody who was there that was involved in storming the Capitol during the confirmation of Joe Biden's victory during the November election was despicable, deplorable, disgusting, and pretty much y'all don't fucking make this country a fucking laughingstock so badly that most of our allies are laughing at us.
May I please go 1 or 15 steps further, please? May I?
Go ahead.
Fine, I shall. Let me remind you, kids, that we've had 4 years of this unadulterated hate, vitriol, stupidity in this country that has probably been going on for decades. And now it's really reared its ugly head.
In other words, folks,
as a nation,
this became a proverbial, absolutely
the damn
biological motherfucking shit show that you saw Wednesday night. And I know many of you were disgusted.
Not Wednesday night, Wednesday morning.
Oh, that's right. It became a shit show turned on its fucking head.
Matter of fact, it was, if my math is right, it was about 9:30 or 10 a.m. Central Time when all of this went down.
Yes.
And it carried long into the afternoon and evening.
Yeah.
the point where the National Guard had to be brought in, folks.
But here's the thing. The National Guard was brought in after DC police turned them away the first time.
There is no excuse.
Have some common sense, people.
The Army National Guard to be brought in over something that should have already been taken care of.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So basically, after all that stupid bullshit that went on around the Capitol, 5 people are dead, including a DC cop, mind you. And he said he wanted it to be a cop. And about 55 lawsuits was brought about.
Because we need to back up a little bit. Because also on that, sorry I had to dip back into the news pool again. But do you remember the lady, Erica, what was her name, Seals?
Yeah.
Who was on the Atlanta Police Department.
Oh, yeah.
Is now, as of Wednesday, is now the head female sheriff on the Louisville Police Department. You know, that same one that basically had like a bunch of diphthongs and book bags.
Yeah.
In the 11 in town of Breonna Taylor / I don't know the difference between a boyfriend and somebody who's actually sleeping quietly in their home just coming off of work from an EMT shift.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't care who we kill. We shoot now, ask questions later. Or in this case, shoot now and not ask anything.
Yep.
Until protests actually happened and they were forced questions to be asked.
Yep.
So, folks, why hasn't this been done sooner?
And to top it all off, everybody who was at their protest, because they protested and it was violence, it was labeled as domestic terrorism, and the FBI had to get involved, which led about
domestic terrorism, or should I say, a peaceful protest, and people speaking when they should not be, who basically pointed the finger at BLM, aka Rudy. I can't believe I have that hair dye on my head going down my face looking like I've been crying for about a week.
Giuliani.
Basically said that was a terrorist act. No, Rudy. Hate to say it, but apparently that hair dye must have fogged your brain. Because Wednesday was a terrorist act.
Against this country.
One person dead. Just for being inside of a window.
Actually, let me stop you right there. Actually, it's not one person who's dead. It's 5 people who are dead.
Well, at the beginning of the Wednesday episode, it was 1.
Then 3 people who died in the hospital. So that brought the death toll to 4. And then a DC police officer got shot and killed. So that's up to 5.
Wow.
Yes.
And, oh, yeah. And I heard something this morning where the police officer basically died of actually getting bonked over the head 50 million times with a freaking fire extinguisher.
Yep, that was that officer.
And that was this morning.
Yep. 5 people.
And
are you happy, folks? That is what you wanted.
Well, you wanted it.
You got it.
And oh, yeah. What did I see on Twitter on Wednesday? The wife of Mitch McConnell, who is on the Transportation Board, who has been trying to get rid of Transportation for us people that are blind for years, basically put in her resignation and resigned. Hey, lady, you should have done that years ago. You idiotic twit. You want to know who causing all of our problems with access right and everything else in America. Yeah. For what? Cutting costs.
You want to know who? And speaking of resignations, like I said before, because of this,
the head officer of Capitol Hill, Steve Sun, resigned this morning. The figurehead / dimwit of education, Beth DeVos also
Oh, resign.
put in her letter of
Resignation. She should have did that years ago with that shit stand she calls a brother, the owner of Blackheart Industries,
All I gotta say about that is whatever.
who let 4 of his guards kill 14 innocent people. One of them was an Iraqi child who was only 5. 5. And Trump acquitted these 4 assholes. You want to quit 4 people of killing a 5-year-old kid? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious?
And oh yeah, speaking of the Iraqi thing, once Trump tries to get out of hot water there, the Iraqi folk actually have a warrant out for his arrest too.
Yes. And so does Iran. And the Iranian people got a warrant out for his arrest for the death of their general.
Like the old ZZ Top song from the 80s. He's bad and he's nationwide.
And speaking of countries who also got a warrant out for Trump's arrest, Scotland does too.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I miss this?
Yes, you did. Scotland has a warrant out for his arrest. They said they say in quote.
This gets better.
Yes.
The British report is I do.
I'm not making this up, folks. They said, in quote, Trump, you are not allowed to come into Scotland unless, and this is a big unless, you show us your tax returns. Otherwise, we'll risk you on the spot if you do come into the country.
You know what? Instead of arrest, they should have a sign that says, anybody that spots that man on any premise of Scotland, shoot on sight. I think Iraq has an order for that. In other words, Twitter has done what they should have did years ago. They permanently banned that orange face, toupee wearing piece of shit off of Twitter, off of Facebook. He is an orange clown with Rudy Giuliani's hair dye, with Beth DeVos's perfume. Stephen Sung should have gotten those nuts 5 years ago.
And Sidney Powell's face.
And Sidney Poitier is just sitting there laughing his can off exponentially and extemporaneously times a million.
Yeah.
And Denzel Washington's probably thinking like, if I ever saw Donald Trump, he'd be like that dude on Remember the head coach, Remember the Titans. If I see you coming late in practice again,
boy.
I'm going to break my foot off in your John Henry hindquarters. Herman Boone. Oh, if Herman Boone was still alive today. The late Herman Boone is rolling in his grave. Now you know he ain't getting no rest. Seeing this monstrosity.
Yep. And apparently, the one woman who was shot by DC police, turns out she is a 14-year military veteran. So, lady, you ain't getting no sympathy from me. You betraying your own fucking country for this lying sack of shit. That is the 45th president. So, bitch, you can kiss my black ass, get glad, and I hope the worms eat your ass all the way to hell.
I think somebody's getting a text.
It ain't me.
Somebody's text go off, and it wasn't mine.
Nope, it's not mine.
Then I don't know whose it was, but it sounded like a nice blubbering Italian alien invasion.
The invasion of the body snatchers, or full-on insemination.
Or the late Orson Welles' War of the Worlds. Just take your pick.
Or the late Tommy Lasorda, who just died today. God rest his soul. Thank God he didn't watch this bullshit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he died today.
Oh, crap.
At the age of 93.
Now let's give the folks some news of what's going to be happening with this pod after this week.
So, next week, we'll be on Facebook Live with Nightmares Insider, the insight to your Middle Tennessee Nightmares women's football team, starting with yours truly. I'll be covering things. What the Nightmare is going to be doing for the season.
Well, we will be. So
Yes.
you're not losing us. Oh no! You're by the time we get to the season, you're going to get sick of us.
Yes. And and also, folks,
next week,
yeah,
this pod will be on the same platforms, but you will now be able to see us on Facebook Live.
Starting next Saturday,
June.
So you wanna enjoy us on Facebook Live. We'll also do a little Q&A for you people, whoever subscribes to our Facebook pages. You can hit up mine at Joshua MMA.
And you can shoot me a Facebook request at luther.king.tsb@gmail.com. And Josh should have both of our pieces of information on the Facebook Live page.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if we're going to have an email inbox just for the Nightmares by itself for this pod, or for the Nightmare stuff in general.
All right.
Have we decided on what we're going to do on that yet?
Oh.
And I know we're doing business on a podcast, but hey.
We can't tell all our business just that. We can give you a little taste of what you can get. We'll also not only be talking about Nightmare business, but NWFL business as well. And I'll let a little more of that come to you next week. But I don't want to give it all away just yet.
So we have news.
We got some news. The NWFL will be coming into town in the cities of Nashville and West Memphis.
What?
Yes.
So we actually got somebody that's local, more like closer to Arkansas.
Yep.
Well, that's West Memphis. That's almost in the north.
West Memphis, Tennessee, not West Memphis, Arkansas.
Well, wait. That's straight Memphis, Tennessee. That's almost north.
Right near Jackson.
Across the Tennessee River.
Yep.
Oh boy. But we'll deal with that next week.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. So.
Yep.
Was that just posted like?
That was posted on the NWFL's Facebook page.
Have they gotten their website fixed yet?
No, we have our Facebook page up and running. The NWFL has their Facebook page up and running as we speak.
Sweet. So you want all the news on the NWFL, check out the NWFL Facebook page, and I believe Johnson has that info.
Yeah, that'd be on Facebook.com/NWFL, the National Women's Football League.
And I believe, do we have that in show notes somewhere, or any place where folks can actually go back and check this podcast on the website, or any episodes they like to catch?
Any episodes that you can catch, you can find them on my YouTube channel. One of my 2 YouTube channels will be my main one, and of course, if you're looking for the live ones that we're doing just now, it'd be underneath Saul Binky 629. And this is these are the uncensored ones, folks.
Keep that in mind. If you want the kids to enjoy them, enjoy the ones on Saturdays. If you want the uncensored where the kids aren't in the room,
then you be on this one. Yep.
But you better choose wisely.
Yep.
Because if you pick the one that has uncensored on it and the kids are in the room and they give you that look of
what the heck are we watching?
Like they just ate a lemon and they had that pucker look on their face after a bitter taste.
Oh no. We don't need that.
That's on you, not us.
Because you have been warned. This podcast right here ain't for kids.
As the tricks commercial would go, silly rabbit tricks are for kids.
Silly kids. This podcast is for adults on Fridays.
And this one ain't for you. This is the unedited version of Adult Swim.
What?
minus the cartoons.
Lord Jesus.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, my niece is complaining about bugs.
And
So,
speaking of, let's get to the coaching news before we wrap this thing up. Sark is back in coaching.
Mm.
Last Saturday, folks. This almost feels like a slime deal for me. That after Tom Herman won the bowl game against Colorado in the Laro Alamo Bowl on Tuesday to wrap up 2020, he had his end of the year press conference, and all was right with the world, right? Saturday morning at about 10:30 that morning, ESPN and Adam Wittenberg reporting that Tom Herman got canned at Texas. And not even an hour after Tom Herman got fired, they went after the Alabama offensive coordinator, Steve Sarkisian. He signs on the dotted line and is now the new coach of Bevo and Hookham. So now the question...
Speaking of college football in Texas, now, folks, remember, if y'all remember Baylor University.
Oh, who doesn't remember Baylor University?
Baylor had came underneath a lot of scrutiny, briefly because their former and current football players were perpetrating a rape culture on their own campus.
If I think I know what you're talking about Art Briles or his son Kendall.
Art.
There's a special place in nowhere for that man.
Art Briles and Ken Starr. Them two assholes.
What could he have possibly done now? That couldn't have been more worse than the Baylor basketball team and Patrick Donahue and that little fiasco, which got apparently.
Here's what else. Their old Art was coaching high school football for the last 4 years until after they found out why he was fired from Baylor and Old Dominion and let him go. And for you folks who don't know who I'm talking about, take it back about 5 years ago, 2016. The Baylor rape cases. These cases occurred around the same time the Vanderbilt rape case has occurred. But Baylor's went back another 5 years to 2011, when Art Briles was coaching.
Well, wait a minute. Art Briles, before he went to Baylor, was in Houston.
Oh, he was in Baylor in 2011. He left Old Dominion in 2009.
Well, one of those had that little basketball fiasco with the murder of one of their own basketball players.
Yeah.
What basically cost them everything, where they couldn't play non-conference. They were stuck just playing conference games. Couldn't play in the conference tournament. Couldn't qualify for any postseason play for a while.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing on Baylor's watch until Art Briles came along.
Yeah, and you really want to know what's so bad about this one? Baylor still has lawsuits underneath the Pepper Hamilton report.
Wait. Wait. Are we talking about the former Pep Hamilton? It was the
Pepper Hamilton.
Who was it?
The Pepper Hamilton report, who busted the entire Baylor football team, the former players up to the current ones, who got in trouble, and some of them who found out what Art Briles didn't do, they up and left.
Wow.
And speaking of coaches, today, as of around 8:30 this morning, Katie Sowers, the first female openly gay assistant head coach for the San Francisco 49ers, has called it quits at the 4 years.
Wow. Speaking of coaching, does this team finally have a coach yet, or are we still waiting on one?
We're gonna be still waiting on one, but if I can have it in mind, and if I want to choose it in mind, I'll choose the coach myself. And even if I had to put coaching duties myself, I would do that.
I can already see by the time we get to the next season, if you're having to coach, that means God. Podcast Friday, pregame interview Saturday, podcast Saturday night when we're done. God, we're going to be sick of each other by Sunday.
And like I said, folks,
broadcaster, owner, podcaster, God, we're going to be sick of each other. By the time Sunday morning it's just like, God, we had to do this same broadcaster. God, I can already see it.
And speaking of Sunday, tomorrow is the start of the NFL wildcard games. Tomorrow is the start of the NFL wildcard games. And we got
Tree tomorrow.
And 3 Sunday. One of those games I'm looking forward to is Jared Goff and the LA Rams taking on Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, okay. If you're looking forward to that game, you better hope and pray Jared Goff can play. Because he's still on the injured list.
Yep.
So if he can't play, the Rams ain't going to do jack squat. So if you're an LA Rams fan, you better hope and pray to God on high
that Jared Goff
is cleared to play.
Because if he ain't,
last 3 weeks.
Rams fans, I'm sorry to say, but you're fucked.
They've been screwed even with Jared Goff for the last month. I mean, nobody did it. They have been screwed for the last month.
And Sunday's triple header, the game that I'm absolutely looking forward to, it's the Titans and Ravens Part 2.
More like Titans Ravens Part 25. Or in this case, Ravens Titans Part 4. If my math is correct.
Yep.
Because I think we saw Lamar Jackson twice last year, and we're going to see him twice this year.
Yep.
Like, who in the NFL office did we tick off? I don't like seeing the same team 4 times in 2 years. It's almost about as worse as Alabama Clemson. Thank God we ain't seeing that for a 5th time.
Nope. But thank God we ain't got to face the Colts.
Hold on. Speaking of the Big Ten, you know what, Big Ten? Y'all are a bunch of idiotic hypocrites. And I know you have a player who is a Ohio State Buckeye fan, and we know who that is. However, we ain't mentioning our names on this podcast. Why? Because we ain't got to. Need to. But the Big Ten Conference, ooh, you bunch of hypocrites. I hope Monday night y'all get spanked. And then we'll have to hear you idiots for the next year. Because you're all idiots. Didn't want to play, and then the players and parents whine, bemoan, complain, and whine some more.
And bitch.
And now that you got Ohio State playing for the Natty on Monday night, they're whining because they don't have enough players and enough bodies to play for the national championship. Up yours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of this already.
So here's the big question for Sunday's game: Titans, Ravens. Will they be able to try to stop Big King Henry, or are they gonna let him run over them again like they did the last playoff game?
Well, let's back up a little bit. Let's go to the first game of the day. Can Old Man Rivers finally get a win in the playoffs? The answer to that, especially playing in cold Buffalo, I don't think so.
Because he is working against Josh Allen and Josh Norman.
I don't think the problem's gonna be for Indianapolis is their offense. It's not gonna be that. I think the problem that Indy's gonna run into is what they've had all year. not a lot of depth on defense. Because they really not had their full defensive lineup in there all year.
No.
Either injuries or COVID issue or vice versa. So I think because of that, since they've not had everybody together, I think that's going to become a factor as we go into the second half. I can see that game being close for a half, but Buffalo is one of those teams that.
Yeah, but let's put it this way. At least
even
the Titans,
if you keep it close for them, they'll find a way to pull away late.
At least,
and I think
we can count. We're glad we can count one 10-5 team out.
I mean, I think Buffalo wins that game, but I think it's going to be. I think the game's going to be a lot closer than the actual final score.
Yep.
But I think Buffalo will get their first playoff win. But then, depending on who comes out of that nightcap on Sunday night, which we'll get to later.
Yep.
Game
because
two,
the Titans and the Ravens are playing first that Sunday.
Well, they're playing first on Sunday, but let's get back to Saturday. Then the AFC, that's the only AFC game going on tomorrow.
Sunday.
Because tomorrow afternoon.
No, all three games are split up by conferences. This is the NFC wild card tomorrow.
Yeah, and then you got two NFC wild card games going on.
3
at 3:40 and then at 7:15. The second of the triple header, the first of the NFC, is the third meeting of the season. Yes, the third meeting within a calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Week 10, Seahawks beat the Rams. Week, 15? The Seahawks beat the Rams again.
And week 17, the Rams beat the Seahawks.
Well,
no,
the Rams didn't play the Seahawks in week 17.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had already finished up their season meetings because Seattle was playing San Francisco to wrap up the season.
Yep.
And Green Bay was playing Chicago, so the number one seed once Green Bay finished off Chicago, that was pretty much a moot point.
Yes, and
Chicago,
as you also well know, that some of the coaches more coaches have been fired. So guess what? Some teams has got to work on head coaches.
And speaking of coaches,
they finally fired Adam Gase.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Let's get back to the playoffs where we get to the Monday. Back to the Mamas and the Papas Monday. Monday, actually, fire on fire.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that in a minute. First things first. I think Seattle, since they're home, and especially depending on what the weather's going to be, if it's going to be cold, rainy, and snowy, Rams don't like that weather. I can already tell you that right now. Rams hate that weather. The Rams are sun and fun and beach blondes. Seattle, slop, nasty, dank, disgusting, where it does more snowing and rainy half the year. And depending on what the playoff weather is going to be on Saturday afternoon, which I have not checked for the Pacific Northwest, for the kickoff being at 3:40 Central Time, or 3:30, somewhere in that ballpark. I think Seattle's going to make it a 3-peat.
Yep.
Because I like Seattle at home, but they won't be at home, I don't think, next weekend, depending on what happens in that St. Chicago game, because I don't think Seattle's going to have enough to beat New Orleans in that round.
Mm-hmm.
We'll deal with that when we get there. Meanwhile, oh, brother, I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Oh, boy.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I am.
What is it?
The luckiest football team by default gets the brass ring treatment. The Washington, we win the NFC East by default, while the Eagles decide to puke on themselves.
Jesus.
With more dysfunction than the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Hollywood, and every place that has Real Housewives series going on Bravo put together.
Oh, God.
The Philadelphia dysfunctional bird breakers basically handed the Washington football team the NFC
Oh Jesus!
And what's the reward for that game for the NFC crap? Oh, nothing except a date with Tom Brady
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Julio Brown, Ronald Jones, Little Fournette, and the pirate ship known as the Tampon Bay Crapineers. They better not be wearing those god-awful Ormsicle putrid. They better not. If they are, I'm rooting against them.
Yep.
Because I cannot stand that creamsicle disgust job that they call a uni. If that were the case, they might as well just wear a trash bag over their head. And not even bother to show up.
Yep.
This game, I really hope there's a tie, but unfortunately in the football season we have extended playoffs, which basically means we don't have that stupid 10-minute overtime period like we do in the regular season. One suggestion for the NFL, please. Can we go back to the old overtime rule? No, we're not talking about first score wins. Both teams at least get a possession. Because I can't stand the fact that you can score a touchdown and the other team not even get the ball. That's one thing about the new overtime rules that irk me to no end.
Uh-oh. Now we know who's playing in the National College Championships on Monday night.
Well, we know that. Alabama and Ohio State.
Yep.
Now, I wonder, will Steve Sarkisian be working the offensive side of the ball Monday night? My guess is he will be allowed to. Because he's not finished with Alabama yet. I'm thinking he might be allowed to. And the last time I checked the early opening line after New Year's Day, the line was 11. Bama was favored by 11 over Ohio State.
Yep. And right now, Texas A&M is leading North Carolina by 4 points.
Wait a minute. They're re-showing the Orange Bowl?
Yep.
And that was last Saturday?
Yep.
Why were we watching that again?
I just found it. I found this completely and totally by accident.
A game that was played last Saturday.
Yeah, this was on the SEC network.
Oh yeah, they show the SEC teams that were in bowl games. They do that every year. And now
they're also going to show the Gator Bowl next, which is
who do you got?
Yeah.
The Saturday slate. Who do you got? Indy, Buffalo. First game of the day, 12:05.
Lord have mercy.
Who do you got? I got Buffalo.
Me? I'm going for Buffalo because I don't want to see Old Man Rivers in the playoffs.
Game 2. Who do you got?
Pittsburgh. You got Pittsburgh versus Cleveland.
Well, that's a Sunday night game.
That's a Saturday night. That's a Sunday. That's a Sunday night. For me, Titans versus Ravens. I'm going with the Titans again because the last time the Titans and the Ravens played in the AFC playoffs, Derrick Henry don't run rush out all over the Ravens defense. I'm looking forward to seeing him doing that again this year.
But the question is, can they? Because the Ravens are getting right, which is a problem for us.
But here's the thing. If they did like they did last time, is try to tackle him up high instead of down low, you're going to see.
Well, keep in mind, the reason why they couldn't make all the right tackles because they didn't have their big man, Brandon Williams, in the front. They've gotten Brandon Williams back along with Tim Jernigan. So that kind of helps them out up front a little bit. However, who do you got? Seattle and LA in Seattle.
I'm taking the season. I'm taking the Hams for this one. The Los Angeles Hams. Because they hammered it up.
Even if Jared Goff doesn't play?
Even if that jackass don't play. Well, I want to see Russell Wilson put the Hams through their paces.
And who do you
Not from the NFC least, please.
Who do you got? Who do you got? The Pirates and the Washington Nameless team.
Well, it can go either way. It'll probably even out since they got rid of Dwayne Haskins last week.
Now, I've heard, this is what I've heard, that Ron Rivera is thinking about going with a 2-quarterback system, depending on how Alex Smith's cap is doing. You know what? I wouldn't be shocked if Washington with Alex Smith won that game. I would not be. I really wouldn't be, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Tampa pulled the upset, though. But a 4-5 is really not really an upset, though, if you don't want to stop and think about it.
True.
We've seen more 4-5s in sports where 5s upset 4s. That's not really much of an upset anymore.
Yep.
So it wouldn't.
But let's not forget, last season Titans were the number 6 seed, and they beat the number 3 and the number 1 seed
before losing to the number 2 and eventual Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
But the road this time will not be like that because
the Titans has got home field advantage in the playoffs, baby. No team in the AFC has competed for it.
Just for the first game. Because if they win this week, they will most likely have to travel to Kansas City because I don't see Cleveland winning in Pittsburgh. And, Kevin Stefanski will not be coaching that game because he has COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And a linebacker, I think, is not going to play.
We're going to look at, for the first time ever, we're going to see Jennifer King coaching the Browns this Sunday.
Oh, Jesus. Now, you have to give me a little background on her because I don't. Was she quality control?
No. See, Jennifer King, if I remember correctly, she was on the DC Divas football team with Callie Brownson of the WFA. That team is still around.
They are?
Yes, the DC Divas.
Out of
Washington, D.C.
Washington or British Columbia, Canada?
Washington, D.C. They still around.
On our side of the WFA, when I was doing the minute with the Misfits, I don't think we ever played them because they were on the. They
were in the American Conference. They were in the Central Division.
Yeah, we were in the Southern side.
Yeah, the National Conference.
Yeah, the Southern side of it, and a lot of games are local.
And the WFA have lost 6 good teams to the WNFC. They lost the Cleveland Fusion, the Atlanta Phoenix.
Wait, the WNF. Wait, okay. Now you're gonna get. Now, what league is this?
The Women's National Football Conference. They picked up the Cleveland Fusion.
Check.
The Atlanta Phoenix.
Now, I wish the league that we're in would have picked up Atlanta. That would have been an even closer drive for us there.
Yep. Not only that, they also got the Carolina Queens.
The Carolina who?
Queens.
Okay, I don't remember them.
And they were a short-term WFA team for at least 2 or 3 years before they went to the WNFC.
So, the Carolina Queens, Atlanta Phoenix, Cleveland Fusion.
And last but certainly not least, the Alabama Fire.
Do you think the league that the Nightmares are in is going to try to go in those states to pick up teams so we can at least have the southeast side of the WNBA?
Right, yeah, basically right now, looking at the list that it was posted on our teams on the league's Facebook page, they talking about getting the Owensboro Storm back.
Yeah, why did they leave the first time?
Who are you asking?
I can't ask them because, hey, I'll put it this way: owners stick together. I'm just a broadcaster, so I don't get all the first chance. This is something that the head honcho himself has thought of. Okay, so if he
he also is thinking about getting teams from Shreveport,
wait, doesn't he already have some teams in Louisiana already? Like New Orleans?
The Hippies, yeah. That's one of the teams in Louisiana. But there is a team in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's a little bit closer to New Orleans.
Is he trying to set it up to where everybody at least has either a travel partner or rivals that are basically right a hop, skip, and a stone's throw from each other, where they can build some animosity with fan bases.
Yeah, because that's it is our closest rival will be the Wichita Bandits.
Unless that changes, which I really hope it does.
They out everywhere.
Well, we'll keep them up if we get the team. No,
that was your fault.
If we get that team out of
yours.
If that team out of Memphis comes on board and we get Oklahoma back, then no. That won't be our closest rival anymore.
That damn water out, and she in there on the computer. But I asked her to let that water out there thing way before she hopped on that damn computer.
Now I'm back. My niece is a bitch. So
now, right now on the list at the moment, how many does he have like the list of teams that he's like?
What's the cities that he went to? Besides Nashville and West Memphis and Shreveport, he went to Wichita Falls, Texas, talked to the Wichita Falls Titans to come back to the NWFL.
Well, that won't be our closest one because it looks like Memphis.
Nope. So far, our closest one is still the Hippies.
Well, wait. So where is he going to put the Memphis team at? You think they're the only team he's talking about? There's other teams that he's trying to see they can get him interested to build this league on, because as it is, he's saying he's going to actually implement high school and college rules with arena football implications. And like we said before about that, it'll probably be a way to go. And since Wichita Bandits is an 8-on-8 team, the Titans will have to, the Nightmares will have to make an adjustment to play against the 8-on-8 team. Yeah, that one's going to be a little interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is it basically come down to who can play 11-on-11 and who can play 8-on-8, or are they going to have like one championship no matter what side you're on?
Yeah.
Or is he going to have it like a split championship for 8-on-8 and 11-on-11?
Or in basic cases, basically teams in the league that can play both 11-on-11 and 8-on-8.
So is there a possibility where a couple teams would have to play both 11-on-11 and 8-on-8?
Yep.
Well, how many teams do we know of for sure that will have to play both ways?
Well, basically, I wouldn't even give you a number, but right now, since Wichita is the only team that will only play 8-on-8, nine times out of 10, the Hippies are playing 11-on-11.
And we're 11.
Yep.
Or can we play 8 if we had to?
Or we can play 8 if we had to. Jeez. Oh, Lordy. Oh, my Lord. Well, we know who was coaching the Tar Heels in this game. Former Longhorns head coach Mack Brown. And good old Jimbo.
Did I see something where Mack Brown got fired or something?
From Texas? Yeah.
No. I thought I heard something where wait. Who got fired in college football? Because I thought I heard something which was one of the coach getting canned.
The only coach that I said got fired from college football, was Chris Malone, and it's because of what he said about Stacey Abrams by calling her Fat Albert.
Yeah, that was the TV show from the 80s.
Yep.
Before we knew what Bill Cosby really was. Hey, Sandra, coming out.
So it's like I said before at the top of the hour, folks. Consequences and repercussions, and then accepting your own responsibility for the actions that you cause on and off the field. What you say, even in person, or matter of person in social media, will reflect back on you. And if your bosses find out, you're gonna be waiting in the unemployment line for your next check.
And speaking of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, what do these all have in common? All these beloved and talented platforms have either suspended Donald Trump through Inauguration Day or for...
Oh, wait a minute. Trump doesn't have a Twitch account. He has a Facebook account, he had a Twitter account, and he had an Instagram account. All his accounts are permanently locked out. His accounts have been banned. He's banned from Facebook indefinitely, Twitter indefinitely, Instagram indefinitely.
Hallelujah.
Prailer off the Google Play Store and Apple platforms for not making any modifications.
And speaking of, remind the good people that aren't subscribed to YouTube, which platforms they can find this beloved and talented podcast on, and hopefully as we move forward in 2021, we can get it on all platforms.
Okay. To find this lovely podcast and many more, you can look me up on my Patreon page. You can look me up on Facebook.
Ding.
You can look me up on YouTube.
Ding.
Or you can look up in many podcasting apps like Spotify, iHeartRadio. Or if you have an iPhone, iApple Radio.
Apple, iHeartMedia, Google Play.
Mm-hmm. Podchaser.
You get your beloved and talented podcast, and please, in the podcast world, rate, subscribe,
and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything.
Yeah, for you people that are subscribed to YouTube. And speaking of, how many subscribers do we have coast to coast around the world on this Beloved and Talented Pod?
Okay.
As we know.
As you also want to know, that if you subscribe and support this channel, coming up soon, we'll have many Gridiron Power merchandise for you to buy. Like mugs.
With that, as we move forward.
As we move forward, on from this day on, we'll have things like travel mugs, coffee mugs, t-shirts, hooded sweatshirts. You name it, you want it, we'll get it for you.
At some point, but that'll be with, of course, my broadcast partner / owner of this team, and oh Jesus, we had to deal with her as a coach too.
Boop, boop, boop.
Boy, oh boy. The fun and frivolity that all of us will be having on our beloved and talented vehicles heading down and heading back.
Yes, as long as you don't bring up politics, we're good. But this was the only instances we were bringing up politics because it needed to be said.
Because Wednesday was about as disturbing and hair-raising as I can ever remember it.
And that would make my head hurt so bad. Looking at that, it made my head hurt.
Just on that Wednesday by itself, it felt like every 5 minutes.
This by those actions alone,
I mean, it
made everything so stupid. And speaking of stupid, that doesn't assault people. Even the GOPs who sided with this clown, they wound up on the FBI's most wanted list for domestic terrorism. As of today.
And Rudy, I have brain fog from the hair dye. Honey, one of them.
Not to mention the son of a Brooklyn, New York Supreme Court judge is on there too.
Wasn't that the dude that basically put a little meme or thing up there on one of his some social media saying we're in? Is that the guy you're talking about?
Probably yes.
I forgot the guy's name, but there was somebody who put a little thing up there that basically said we're in, and then posted the stupid thing.
That would be Mr. Matthew Mostowski, the son of the Brooklyn Supreme Court judge Adam Mostowski.
That one.
Because of his actions, it's going to make his dad lose his job.
His dad, I'm surprised.
Yeah, even though he is a grown ass man, you are a son of a prominent judge. Your dad is a politician. This kind of thing is going to not only reflect on you, but reflect on him
and his whole family. Let's not forget.
And let's not forget the several people whose names was already outed lost their jobs today.
As I mentioned on this podcast.
Like, for example, Texas attorney Paul Davis for Goosehead Insurance. He lost his job after he made that post. Libby Williams from Property Real Estate Agency lost her job after she posted. Mark Sarcone, a GOP and a professor at St. Vincent's University, he resigned.
Well, yeah, he resigned because he was about to get fired.
Yep.
And as we mentioned earlier, the wife of Mitch McConnell, who was the head of the transportation board, was trying to get rid of our beloved John Transpo, cutting costs. Cutting what costs so it can fit your pocket? Trying to get rid of Access Right. How dare you?
Not to mention, there's many other GOPs, Republicans and Democrats alike, are calling for Ted Cruz's resignation, as well as Josh Hawley's.
I'll put it this way: they may get it if they keep pressuring. At some point, the will and the hammer of the people will come down.
Yep. Not to mention, as of early this afternoon, they're now invoking the 25th Amendment.
And that one's going to take some time.
No, they're not only invoking the 25th Amendment, but they backed up the new articles of impeachment that will disqualify Trump from ever running for president again.
Nancy Pelosi, thank you.
Now, it's not Nancy Pelosi who's drawing it up. Representing Ilhan Omar from Michigan drawed this up.
And there was somebody from them good old boys of Kansas.
Yes.
This morning said something about who being a danger to this country. Duh, you're just not figuring this out, you idiot.
He's been a danger to this country for 4 years. You just figured this out now. You piece of shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why in the blue hell? It took you. Here's what I don't get. It takes you just fucking long to figure out that this guy is a danger to the country. He was a danger to the country when you elected his ass. You wanted this ass hat? You got this ass hat. Not this ass hat.
You wanted this glorified waffle iron? You get a glorified waffle iron.
You got a guy who would rather line his pockets with cash.
And by the way, hey Zuckerberg, now you find Jesus? Hey Zucky. Y'all really? Y'all make big deals to get Instagram. Y'all are doing everything you possibly can to ban TikTok from this country.
No, that was Trump.
Oh, that glorified clown.
Yeah, he was trying to ban TikTok in this country.
But they basically said, nope. Nope. If you go back and listen to Business World's IG TikTok, right before the holidays rolled up in here.
Yep.
It was a 6-part series that interviewed for episode 7. If you want to go back and listen to that, for a plug for wondering, thank you. Speaking of new podcasts from Podcast Edition, starting this Thursday,
Yep.
Business Movers will kick off. If you want to learn more about business, what has made them successful, and different things and highs and lows and pitfalls.
Yep.
Listen to that starting on January 14th.
So let's just say, oh, America, America. How would I thank thee? Let me count the ways. You gave us a glorified orange-colored twitback for a president
Yeah.
who turned this country into hell.
And all of our former allies who are basically so pissed at us
Yep, made us a joke.
they're basically just sitting there laughing at us, taking it all the way to the bank.
Yep, laughing at us.
I wish you had that song.
You are letting police officers get away with bloody fucking murder.
And by the way, a president that gets away with making a phone call to a Georgia senator demanding him to flip votes? That's treason, people.
Why are you guys back in this glorified asshat? It hurts.
There are a few other words that I could think of that are probably worse than that. Something that would probably make even our mothers blush.
Hell,
50 Shades of
not me.
Red.
Not me. That pompous self again. That pompous self, egotistical, maniacal, ugly motherfucking piece of motherfucking shit. The work God's green earth couldn't wipe his ass with a goddamn piece of toilet paper. You give it to him and wipe his goddamn hands on it.
Yeah, and remind me where the sanitizer is after this monstrosity is over.
Give me bleach.
And not liquid Clorox too. Oh, fab. Definitely in order. Lord. This show went completely off the rails, did it not? Oh, boy. Wednesday? Oh, Jesus Christ. I hope I never have to hear about Wednesday ever again. Oh, boy. Wow. We went over an hour.
And also, Luther, if you can hear me, I found out something else. The runoff elections. Luther, you still there? Well, I guess he hung up. So until next time, we'll be seeing. And tune in next week on Facebook Live for this podcast. Goodbye.